and now they are, it's safe and official to say that they're back home soon.
Storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan. We're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates. We're here for the crisis. We're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines. We're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates. We're the calm in the chaos. We're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood. We're a well-oiled machine. We're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear. We're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates. We're here for the crisis. We're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines. We're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates. We're the calm in the chaos. We're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates. We're here for the crisis. We're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines. We're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates. We're the calm in the chaos. We're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up. We're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 322 miles west, or 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program today. We appreciate you all being here with us. God bless you all for being here with us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Now, guys, we're going to give you a lot of information here today. I would ask you all to stand by for the entire program, because if you miss out on one part, you're going to miss out on it all. Okay? This is a lot of information. It's very important information. Some of it may even save your lives or the lives of your family. So please stay tuned through the entire program. Also, if you would, please, if you enjoy this program, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you're interested in the program, number one. And the more people give us thumbs up, the more likely YouTube is going to let everybody else on YouTube see it. That's the algorithm. Sorry, but excuse me. I somehow starting to lose my voice now. Don't know why. Anyway, guys, darn it. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyway, there's a lot of information here. Some of it, like I said, can save your lives. Please give us a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to our program. YouTube's unsubscribing people again. We lost about 5 or 6 subscribers in the last 2 days. So please check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please, guys, please subscribe. That there's a subscription button just beneath this video today. When you hit that subscription button, right next to it is another little bell icon. Click on that little bell icon. That will get you to a drop-down menu of 3 items. Pick up the word ALL. Click on that. That will get you notified when we come on the air. Be advised, YouTube does not always notify everybody when we come on the air. We appreciate you all here, so please do that. Juanito from El Centro, California is here. Welcome, Juanito. We appreciate you here. We've missed you the last time we did our program on Southern California. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be doing our program on Southern California, guys. And there are earthquakes in Southern California. It's an ongoing mess, okay? I'm going to warn you right now. We are expecting a 7.0 in Southern California. We're expecting a 7.0 magnitude earthquake in Southern California. We originally thought it would be in August. Now it's October. It still hasn't hit. The San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded. Every segment of the San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded. Why is that important? Because any one segment on the San Andreas Fault, from I would even say up towards eastern part of Santa Barbara in California, all the way down to the Mexican border. That whole area, each and every segment is locked and loaded. It can go off at any second, literally. We want you to be aware of it. We want you to know what's already going on. Earthquakes are happening in Southern California. We're going to cover that more tomorrow afternoon. But I want to do this for you, okay? We've been covering what's been happening in the Middle East since it happened over 2.5 years ago. Today, October 13th, 2025, an amazing thing has happened because of President Trump's intervention in the Middle East with Gaza and Israel, and even what we did over in Iran earlier this year. President Trump negotiated a deal with the Hamas terrorists. They today have let go the hostages that they had kept over in Gaza for the last 2.5 years. I want to play this report for you. It's about little over 4 minutes long, but I think you'll get a lot out of it. This is Israeli News Live out of Gaza today.
They're in Israeli territory. They are expected to arrive at the Re'im compound any minute now, but officially in Israeli territory, in Israeli hands after over 2 years. They've been in the hands of Hamas terrorists, and now they are. It is safe and official to say that they are back home soon to be at the Re'im compound where they're expected to meet their loved ones waiting for them with much anticipation. And all of this is happening simultaneously, of course, with those phone calls other families are receiving live from inside the Gaza Strip. So it is all happening at the same time. Another thing that is expected to happen in the coming minutes is Air Force One touching base, landing here in the Holy Land.
It's flying over also Hostages Square, reportedly as a gesture to all of the Israelis that are also waiting for the president to arrive.
The Tel Aviv shore seeing this presentation Israelis made to the American president, extending their utmost gratitude. It is going to be a day full of such. We are receiving updates that the Air Force One is readying itself to land any minute now. So it is all happening at the same time. With that said, we have yet to identify preparations to the second handover of the second group of hostages. So the first one is about to come to an end. We are nearing also the arrival of Air Force One, but the second group of hostages is yet to make their way to the handover spot in which they're supposed to move from the hands of Hamas terrorists to the Red Cross, and from there, of course, to the IDF forces.
So there is this 12 o'clock deadline. The clock is ticking. It is currently 9:40 a.m. Israel time. Owen, all of these images coinciding on our screen. This is a month's worth of news all unfolding in minutes, if not hours. As the U.S. president is expected to touch down, we see the literal red carpet that has been rolled out for him alongside the Israeli and the U.S. flag. Many people say this could not have happened without the support and the strength of the U.S. president. Now, as he comes here, what does this all indicate about the future of the U.S.-Israeli relationship that has truly been cemented in strength, it seems, over these past few days?
Nicole, I walked through the square last night, and I stopped by a stand and bought 2 flags. But they weren't an Israeli flag, and there is Air Force One on its way to Ben Gurion Airport. After passing, presumably, over hostages square, as we heard, seeing the displays on the Tel Aviv
beach. And also above our studios literally a minute ago.
Above our studios a moment ago, as Donald Trump makes his way, a kind of conquering hero, if you will, after brokering the unlikeliest of deals between Israel and Hamas, and it seems every country in the Middle East and beyond. And here he is, about to land, as the hostages themselves are making their way in real time to Israeli territory, and we're waiting for that second batch. But Nicole, going back to the square, I didn't buy an Israeli flag and I didn't buy an American flag. I bought a flag that was a blend of both. A blend of both, an Israeli flag and an American flag together. This is another high watermark for the U.S.-Israel relationship, brokered in an unlikely way by maybe the unlikeliest of presidents to do so, although Donald Trump has always been so loved here in Israel, but now loved really across the political spectrum here, on the right and on the left. Again, a whole country showing its gratitude and its emotion to him on a day like this. And in this case, of course, very, very much well-deserved, as Air Force One speeds through the sky, making its way down into Ben Gurion Airport. And I suspect in just a few minutes' time, Nicole, we'll see Donald Trump go down the steps from the plane, be welcomed by President Herzog, by Prime Minister Netanyahu, and then from there, of course, make his way to the Knesset, where he will also get a hero's welcome, speaking before the members of Israel's parliament.
Okay, President Trump did land in Israel. The hostages have been released from Hamas territory in Gaza. They have been released. Okay? Now, I want to make this case right now. President Trump has brokered a deal to repair Gaza, to tear Gaza completely down to the soil and repair it, and put that territory under other countries' auspices. That way, it's not going to be under terrorist control. Okay? Now, Renee Steffi's saying there was an explosion in Egypt. Yes, it is. I don't have all the information about that explosion. I will give that to you as soon as we get it. Okay? But today, the hostages from Hamas in Gaza have been released. President Trump did give a message in the Knesset in Tel Aviv. It was a wonderful message. President Trump is being revered not just in Egypt, not just in Israel, but all over the world because of this great stride that he made in getting the hostages released. Phyllis Harris says, thanking God Almighty. I absolutely agree. Thank God Almighty it's finally happened. Now, with another story, okay? Another story here. On Friday, we talked about the nor'easter. On Friday, we talked about the nor'easter. It did hit the country on the East Coast, all over the East Coast, okay? It started in South Carolina and has worked its way up north. Now it is slamming New Jersey. Early this morning, it slammed New Jersey very hard. Okay, let me bring up an image here to show you what happened in New Jersey. Okay, it's bad. It's not good at all. There's extreme flooding all over New Jersey along the coastline. We warned about this. We warned about this last week. It's happened. There's been some flooding here in North Carolina as well, along the coastline. Just like this. People have been wading through water up to and including their knees in some cases. Okay? Now the good thing is this. The people that had secured their property with sandbags, They have not had flooding inside their homes. The people that had secured their property with sandbags have not had flooding inside their homes. That's a good thing. Okay? Now, there's still possibility for more flooding. Rain is hitting. Rain is very bad. Okay? Rain is hitting right now. It's been ongoing. Now, let me bring up another slide right here. Okay? I want to show you this because this will give you a good idea of exactly what is happening and what's going to happen. Okay? The nor'easter slammed into the East Coast on Friday night. Okay? It's along the entire mid-Atlantic coast. It is expected to bring more heavy rain and strong winds to a large chunk of the East Coast from northeastern North Carolina to southern New England, and it's hitting today. The National Weather Service told us this morning that the storm is going to move northeastward along the coast of New Jersey. Okay? And then it's going to move eastward out over the Atlantic Ocean by Tuesday evening. The system will produce moderate rain along the southern, mid-Atlantic, and southeastern coastlines, as well as inland areas. Now, we here on the mountain, we are in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. We are in the foothills Eastern Continental Divide. Now, we have had very, very little rain. We may have had a few drizzles here and there, but that's all we've had here. But closer to the coastline, they've gotten drenched. Okay? Now, this rain is going to be tapering off tonight. Rain will also develop over the northeast mid-Atlantic on Monday and Tuesday, depending on where you're at. Again, it's going to slowly taper off by Tuesday afternoon, evening, as it moves north. Forecasters have said the combination of persistent strong onshore winds, high surf, and high astronomical tides, high tides. This may lead to significant coastal flooding in some East Coast communities. It will generate strong rip currents and potentially cause a lot of beach erosion. It's already caused beach erosion to the off-coast areas of the barrier islands, which are just barely off the coast of our shores. Those barrier islands have lost a lot of sand, and some of those homes have been hit very hard. Okay? This storm is causing beach erosion. Furthermore, the storm is likely to bring wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. We talked about this again on Friday. It's also going to bring periods of heavy rain, primarily in coastal areas. The strong winds and heavy rain may bring additional flooding because the wind will push the water inland. The wind will push the ocean water inland, outside of the immediate coastal zones, as well as the potential for scattered power outages. The National Weather Service also told us this morning from Mount Holly here in North Carolina. 5 a.m. advisory said that coastal flood areas and flood hazards are in effect. All Atlantic coastal New Jersey and Delaware localities, including Ocean City, Atlantic City, and Seaside Heights, among others. Okay? A flood hazard warning and heavy rain. All of New Jersey's been under a state of emergency since Saturday night. And it's expected to last at least through tonight in New York. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York also issued an emergency declaration for 8 southern counties in the state. That was last night. Due to the ongoing nor'easter, she declared a state of emergency for New York City, Long Island, Westchester. She said, we're trying and ready to assist local partners as damaging winds and heavy rain move inland, with the potential for flooding and power outages. The Weather Service in Boston said the storm will bring potential for heavy rain, strong winds, and minor coastal flooding today and into tomorrow evening, with lighter winds and rain lingering into tomorrow night. Downed trees and branches. This is a big deal. Downed trees and branches of power lines going down are also possible, and that's already happened. There are people without power here in this area. with the strongest winds expected on Cape Cod and Massachusetts and the upper islands there. Hazardous wind and sea conditions are expected on the Massachusetts and Rhode Island coastal waters. Impacts have already been felt in New Jersey, Delaware, and North Carolina. Wind speeds of over 50 miles per hour have been reported in New Jersey City. This likely will continue for the entire day today into tonight. We're seeing winds gradually diminish but still gusty at times, not as strong as the overnight periods. We're going to continue to have off and on lightning as well. Off and on lightning. This storm has brought thunderstorms to the shoreline, but rain totals aren't expected to reach flood potentials. Rain totals are not expected to reach flood potentials. Delaware, meanwhile, is under a coastal flood warning. That will last until tonight at 8 p.m., possibly into midnight, with moderate to major tidal flooding expected into the state's coastal areas, including the Delaware Bay. In North Carolina, a coastal flood warning was in effect for Hatteras Island from Saturday night through this morning, as well as a high surf advisory. The high surf advisory is still in effect. A coastal flood advisory was also in effect for Dare County. Dare County, as you can remember, during Hurricane Aaron, was underwater. Okay? That coastal flood advisory is in effect in Dare County until Thursday, or from Thursday night last week until tonight. The North Carolina Department of Transportation said Sunday afternoon, North Carolina Highway 12, which connects the mainland with the barrier islands that serves the Outer Banks, is closed. Highway 12 is closed from Mark Bass Knight Bridge to Rodanthe due to unsafe conditions. Unsafe water conditions and unsafe driving conditions brought on by ocean overwash over the highway. The highway is also closed on Hatteras and Ocracoke Island. Okay, the Highway 12 is also closed on Hatteras and Ocracoke Island. Do we have any questions about the water and the storm information? Do we have any questions about that? Okay. Any questions? Now, I just removed someone off our chat. That's because the information you were putting up here, one, cannot be verified, and two, it's not in relation to what we're talking about tonight. If you want your chat to be recognized and stay up, you need to be putting information up in regards to what we're talking about. Okay? What you were talking about has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. And not only that, it cannot be verified. Okay? Coastal flooding hazards are in effect on all Atlantic coastal New Jersey beaches, Delaware and Delaware Bay, and tidal Delaware River through this evening. Okay? Moderate coastal flooding impacts are ongoing. There's going to be the possibility of coastal flood impacts likely during the high tide this afternoon. Coastal residents are urged to heed warnings and follow guidance from your local officials. There's widespread roadway flooding and closed roads, damage to structures, and evacuations are also possible. Floodwaters may be slow to drain out. Why? Because the drain water, the drainways, the drainage areas off your streets and local areas have been clogged by leaves and other debris. So floodwaters may be very slow to drain off tonight. Be aware of that. Do not ever, I repeat, don't ever drive through flooded roads. Don't ever drive through flood roads. Why? Because you never know whether that flood has also undermined the road surface. Meaning, if the road surface has been undermined, you drive over it, you're going to drive into a hole. And then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck with water in your car and possibly drowning. Don't do it. 12 inches of water can sweep your car down river. 6 inches of water can sweep you off your feet. Be aware of that. Okay? Back up. Don't drown. Back up. Don't drown. Okay? Now, there is another issue going on that we talked about this past week as well. Okay? We talked about the monsoonal rains. In this case, the rains coming from Mexico. There had been a hurricane off the coast of Mexico that moved into the Baja California area and up through it's not the Bay of California, the Gulf of California. Moved up through the Bay of the Gulf of California up through northern Mexico. It inundated Arizona. It inundated parts of New Mexico and southwestern Texas. It also moved up through Nevada into northern Utah. They've experienced a lot of heavy rain. There's been another flood warning issued by the Weather Service. That is for Archuleta County, Colorado. Archuleta, Colorado. Moderate flooding is occurring. If you live in Archuleta, Colorado, or anywhere in that vicinity, please go to higher ground. Please go to higher ground. Watch yourself. Again, don't drive over flood roadways. I want to thank Renee Seppi for putting that up here. That's been going on literally all weekend, off and on all weekend. That whole area of New Mexico up into Colorado is getting nailed. Okay? Be safe. Be very safe. Any questions? Okay, we don't have any questions about that. I'm grateful for that as well. Now, there's other things that have been going on. Okay, we talked about the helicopter, the hostage release in Israel. That's wonderful. Okay, the next thing that happened was Saturday night. Actually, Saturday afternoon. There was a helicopter crash in Huntington Beach, California. We have information about that as well. I want you to watch this. This is important. Watch where this helicopter was going. They had a cars and copter get together in Huntington Beach. Unfortunately, this helicopter crashed near a hotel there in Huntington Beach. Watch the tail roller. Watch the tail roller this day. The tail rotor's coming off the helicopter right now.
Whoa! Oh shit! Oh! Oh my God!
The helicopter came down through the palm trees near the hotel. 2 people were in the helicopter.
Somebody here.
3 people were injured on the ground. There's the tail rotor right there.
Now I guess I'll have an excuse for my parking ticket if I get one. I doubt it. No, you're right. No, I mean, they roped it off, so I can't get to it technically. No. I know you. You would never complain about that.
I don't complain. Very rarely. I've always told you guys, if you don't really get saved.
Okay, they had a copters and car show over in Huntington Beach. And unfortunately, that helicopter crashed. We don't have any affirmative information whether it was a privately owned helicopter or what that helicopter was. But it was a Bell helicopter nonetheless. It did crash. 3 people on the ground were hurt. Underneath the helicopter that crashed, there was a young boy. He was rescued by civilians that were just there in the area. Okay? Then the first responders got there and evacuated the people from the helicopter. They also helped evacuate the other people that were on the ground to the local hospitals. That's all the information we have right now. Los Angeles and Huntington Beach police are not putting out any information at this point in time. Hopefully tonight they'll have more information for us. When we have that information, possibly as late as tomorrow, we'll give that information to you. Now I have something else I need to show you. We talked about this on Saturday. This is also important. There was a major explosion in Tennessee. Actually, before I get to that, I want to give airtime to what Renee Steffi's putting up here. There is a flash flood warning for Tucson, Arizona today. For Penal, Arizona today. Life-threatening flash flooding. Also, Clark County, Nevada. Mojave, Arizona, and Clark County, Nevada, there is life-threatening flash flooding going on. Everyone, please be aware. If you're there in those areas, please take serious consideration about evacuating your property and or moving to higher ground. Okay, that's important. I will continue putting out these advisories throughout our program today. Okay, now on Saturday we reported an explosion in Tennessee. I have further information from that. They put out this video Saturday night, and I'm passing this on to you right now. Please watch this video very closely.
About us not being able to have notified all the families involved. I remember somebody on this side had asked me that question. I can tell you at this time, we have notified all 16 families of those people that we feel was involved in this situation, this tragedy. Now, you notice the number, there's a difference in the number there. We have been able to locate and determine those 2 other folks was not on this site. And I'll give you an example of some of the reasons that we've had this problem. Their vehicle and their personal items were found on the scene, and we were unable to locate. And we naturally didn't, again, in efforts to be transparent with you, in efforts to be very open about all this, that's at the time we've been able to decide and locate those other 2 individuals. So we can tell you as of right now, we have contacted all 16, and we'll call them victims, our loved ones, families that we feel was part of this tragedy. It saddens me. I'm very thankful that we have located the other 2. We talked to several family members ourselves again today. For those of you that wasn't here this morning, our issue that we talked about earlier with the ordinance, it's went very well, and us being able to do that, it's just a perfect example of us having to slow down things and be more methodical. And as I explained to you earlier, we're literally having to clear foot by foot, and I'm literally meaning that. As we take a step, if there's any kind of anything that we feel is in harm to any emergency or any LEO or anyone that's personnel or for lack of better words, bomb squad or bomb tech guys that's on this working this, we're feeling that we're having to clear it foot by foot, and that's what we're doing. Forgive me, I'm stuttering a little bit, I understand that, but I'm very tired along with everybody else behind me. Tomorrow's operation, now that we have the national ATF scene team here, we're going to be operating under some of the things to make sure their operations are safe and secure. We're going to be, our timelines of working are going to be more, less labor intensive, because they are under some strict or some really good stress on that. I'll let the ATF gentleman speak about that here in just a moment.
All right, this feels almost illegal to know.
I can't let that commercial go off.
Sure.
I think Sheriff Davis pretty much tells everything the best, but like I said, it's still a very active scene that we're working. We have had several calls for debris in different areas, so we are asking if you're in the area and do come across debris, you can contact the Hickman County Sheriff's Office if you're in the Hickman County side, or Humphreys County Sheriff's Office as well, and we can send someone out to take care of that.
You want to give the national ATF scene team here. We're going
the families and friends of everybody that's involved in this, the first responders as well, and everybody continues to be working the scene. We're going to be here for several days.
If I may, I want to tell you about a couple other things that's going on. Excuse me, I'm trying. Both our counties was hit pretty hard in 21. We've already taken plans to prepare to take care of our loved ones and our families even more. What I mean by that, both of our school systems, our school directors have already started preparing for counseling folks to come in Monday when school goes back, for not only family members, for folks that had the families involved in this, but for law enforcement and for emergency personnel as well. And we're going to be talking about that later in detail, but I think that shows, or is a prime example of how we're trying to prepare every day and looking ahead to the future, not just today, but we are trying to support the folks that's up there, but we're also trying to support the rest of our community as we see them at large. Ma'am.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Tyra Cunningham. I am the Assistant Special Agent in charge with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives here in the Nashville Field Division. First and foremost, I want to, on behalf of ATF, give our condolences to the families affected by this tragedy, the community affected by this tragedy. ATF is here to support both county sheriffs in any way that we can. One of those ways is by the activation of the National Response Team, otherwise known as NRT, that the sheriff spoke about. This team is comprised of a bevy of professionals to include certified explosive specialists, bomb technicians, electrical engineers, forensic chemists, and many other explosives and fire investigative specialists, to include intelligence research specialists as well. Together, they bring decades of experience in determining the origin and cause of explosions and fires. While this investigation is still in this early stage, At this point, the cause of this explosion has not yet been determined, and we will not speculate. What we can say is that every effort is being made to conduct a thorough, methodical, and science-based investigation to find the answers that led to this tragedy and the answers that this community deserves. ATF's mission is to protect the public. That means not only finding out what happened here, but also ensuring that if criminal activity is involved, those responsible will be held accountable. And if it was accidental, that lessons have been learned to prevent a tragedy like this from ever happening again. We appreciate the patience of the public as we work through this complex investigative process. Updates will be provided as new verified information becomes available. And with that, I would like to introduce ATF's Special Agent in Charge of NCEDR, which the National Response Team falls under, Mr. Bryce McCracken.
Thank you, Tara. Chiefs, Sheriffs. My name is Bryce McCracken. I'm the Special Agent in Charge of ATF's National Center for Explosives Training and Research, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. ATF's National Response Team, as ASAC Cunningham mentioned, is on scene. They arrived from around the country, and they bring the investigative specialties that were previously mentioned. This is going to be a time-taking process to go through and methodically work the scene. Currently, as I believe the sheriffs mentioned earlier today, we're working to mitigate hazards that are just on the site so we can begin actually working the scene from there. But I'll be available when we're done.
Stop buying generic Viagra if you're over.
Sorry again, I can't put that out on the air. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll entertain some questions. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Can you tell us the breakdown of the victims? How many women, how many men, what ages are we talking about?
Sure. If you don't mind, without taking some time to do that, it would take just a few minutes. I don't have that knowledge at my fingertips. If you don't mind, I will address that for you in AM, if that's acceptable, and I'd appreciate forwarding us that opportunity. Thank you. Ma'am, you had a question over here.
I mean, if this scene is destroyed, like, where do you even start? What kinds of things are you looking for in terms of evidence as to how this happened?
That's the explosive investigative team. They're experts. They're expert in explosive devices. They're expert in all kinds of different areas. We've all had or seen explosions of things, of incidents across our nation, and they're very diligent and they're very delicate. And what I mean by delicate is, as they go through those scenes, they handle things, anything and everything that they may come across, whether they think it's evidence, they handle it delicately until they prove themselves that it's not. So when you put all that together, at the end of the day, that's how they usually come back with their determination of what they do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to let that go at this point in time. The reporters will go on for about another 20 minutes. I don't want to even cover that. You can't hear what the reporters are asking anyway. But needless to say, this is an active crime scene. Okay? The explosion that happened at this munitions factory, it was a munitions plant. Okay? A United States military munitions plant. No, it was not operated by our military, but private company. They got into contract from the United States military to manufacture ammunition. That's a fact. But what happened over in this plant on Friday night, Saturday morning was very sad. Okay? That explosion that happened was felt for over 3 miles distance. And pieces of debris traveled upwards of 2 miles distance. That's huge. Can you imagine a piece of debris from an explosion traveling 2 miles to land in your yard? Landing 2 miles to land in your yard where your children might be playing. or you were taking out the trash. That's how significant this is. Okay? Now they're doing their best to identify who, what, and where. Again, Saturday morning after the explosion happened, they said there was possibility 18 or 19 people were killed. They located 2 of those people. Now the death toll is at 16. 16 people killed. A lot of these people were people that knew everybody, and everybody knew them. Even the sheriff had friends of his that were killed in this explosion. Okay, so this hits very hard to these individuals in the hills of Tennessee. Okay, we need to be very cautious with what we say, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, these men and women that are conducting this investigation need to be given some distance. We're going to get more information as it comes out, and I'll pass it on to you when it does. But again, the explosion happened Friday night, Saturday morning in Tennessee, 16 miles distance from Nashville in the mountains of Tennessee. The explosion carried debris upwards of 2 miles away, and the explosion could have been felt by 3 miles away. That is a terrific explosion. Renee Steffi also put out a winter storm warning for the north slope of the Sierra Mountain area. Okay, a severe winter weather warning has been issued by the Weather Service for the northern Sierra Nevada mountains. Snow is expected up to 6,500 feet. The snow level is expected to go down to 6,500 feet, maybe below that. Okay. Winter storm warning has been issued from the National Weather Service out of Sacramento, West Plumas County, Lassen Park. Snow is expected there to be above 6,500 feet. Reno, Nevada. Mono County, heavy snow above 7,000 feet. Mono County, snow above 7,000 feet. That storm that's off of California, that has been off of California and the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, and Washington, has come ashore, and there's heavy snow and winter weather warnings. That weather system is going to continue to cover all the way across the United States. There's weather warnings out as far as Ohio right now. Winter weather warnings out as far east as Ohio and the Ohio River Valley. Yes, we're still going to see some thunderstorm activity, but as that storm from the west moves east, there's going to be winter weather advisories North and South Dakota, Nebraska, over into Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, going over into Ohio and Indiana. That's going to happen. It's going to happen very quickly. There's a flash flood warning for Archuleta, Colorado, Hinsdale, Colorado, and La Plata, Colorado, San Juan County, Colorado. So you guys need to also be aware of that. Okay, that is southwestern Colorado. Flash flood winter storm warning. Okay, a flash flood winter storm warning for the upper Sierra Nevada slopes of Inyo County, California. Heavy snow is expected. Any questions? Any questions? Now I want to go over into, if you'll let me, we want to go over and talk about earthquakes now. There are earthquakes. There's always earthquakes. Now, someone here in this channel, or here in the chat, talked about the sun. 6 Hour, my friend, talked about the sun. The sun has been moving. Okay? There has been solar flares from the sun. Okay? Give me just a second. I thought I had a picture of the sun here. It didn't come out. I'm going to get that for you very shortly here. Okay? There is a huge solar or a sunspot that has hit. Okay? And as a result, that sunspot has been giving off solar flares. That solar flare has been reaching out to the Earth, and now it has struck the Earth today. So if you are on ham radio, if you are a police officer, even firefighter or paramedic, trying to operate your radio, and you can't be understood, it's because of the solar flares. Okay? It's sunspot number 110. Sunspot number 110. There's presently a geomagnetic storm going on. It's a G1 class geomagnetic storm. G1 class geomagnetic storm. It's ongoing. We will be under the influence of this geomagnetic storm for approximately 3 days, starting today, through at least Wednesday night. This happens all the time. This should actually not be anything new. This literally happens all the time. Okay? Just a second here. Give me just a second here. Sometimes this happens, guys. This is real live TV. Okay? Okay, I've got it back up here. Hold on a second. This is weird. Okay, I've got it. Okay, right here in the center of the sun is where this solar sunspot is. Okay, it launched a flare here 3 days ago. It launched a flare from the sun 3 days ago. There is radiation coming from the sun as we speak. Okay, the X-rays from the solar flare hit the Earth on Saturday. What has hit the Earth now is plasma radiation. Now, as we've talked about before, you need to know about this as well. When plasma radiation comes out of the sun, it comes out of the sun like this, literally. Okay? The solar plasma radiation comes out of the sun, then it hits the Earth. Then when it hits the Earth, it doesn't just hit the sun-facing side of the Earth. It completely engulfs the Earth like this. Plasma radiation. Okay? What that means, we've had an increase in earthquakes as well. We've seen earthquakes in the Philippines. We've seen earthquakes in Indonesia. We've seen earthquakes over in the southern part of the Earth in Drake Passage along the Antarctic Ridge. Okay, we've seen it happen. That is a result of plasma radiation coming from the sun. Why? What happens? What happens? Again, this was on the sun, in the center of the sun facing the earth. This is a huge sunspot. This is a huge sunspot. What's going on? When that solar radiation hits the earth, okay, it goes through our magnetosphere, which is weak still because we are in a solar maximum. The solar maximum started nearly 2 years ago, okay? But it takes time for our magnetosphere to come back up to help protect the earth. That plasma radiation goes through the magnetosphere and into the upper part of our atmosphere, okay? Then it hits the ground. It hits the earth that we walk on. It goes all the way down to the center of the earth. What happens? That plasma radiation heats up the plates, heats up the tectonic plates all around this earth. When it heats up the plates, what happens? All that gunk and grime that's been holding those plates and the earthquake faults in place, all that gunk and grime, the sand, the dirt, the biological material, it turns into a sort of oily, gassy, oily substance, oily, greasy substance. When that happens, it allows the plates to more freely move like this. That's what's causing earthquakes now. That's what's caused the earthquakes for the past 3.5 days. Solar flares, plasma radiation. Okay? It also heats up the faults. All the gunk and grime that's held the faults in place, it's friction, guys. It's all friction. The gunk and grime, the sand, the debris, the biological material that's held the plates and the faults in place turns into an oily, greasy-like substance that allows the faults to freely move like this or in a vertical fashion like this. Okay? This was a huge sunspot right in the middle of the sun, Earth facing. That's why we're seeing the radiation hit our planet right now. That's causing earthquake faults and the plates to more freely move. That's why we're getting the earthquakes that we have. Now let's go back to the USGS map here that I've shown you in the past. I'm going to take down our EMA banner. I'm going to take down our webcam for right now. Now, I've got this set up for a reason to show what is happening over off the southeast part of the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia. There's a reason. Over a month ago, we had an 8.8, 9.0 earthquake happen right here off the southeast coast of Kamchatka Peninsula. An 8.8, I am calling it a 9.4 earthquake. I show you at the time it hit, just after it hit, I show you the data that showed this earthquake was a lot stronger than what they said it was. I said it was a 9.4 earthquake, a major 9.4 earthquake, since USGS has later said that it was a complete plate rupture. They said it was a complete plate rupture, meaning this. Okay, let me put up our webcam again so you can see what I'm talking about. I like to use my hands. My grandfather was Italian. Maybe that's why I use my hands. I talk with my hands. Okay, a complete plate rupture. On the western side, or the eastern side of the Kamchatka Peninsula, we have the Pacific Plate, right? Yeah, we do. On the other side, the western side of the Kamchatka Peninsula, let's move this over here. This is called the Sea of Okhotsk. Okay, we have the Okhotsk Plate. The Okhotsk Plate here. When that 8.8, 9.4 earthquake happened, there was a complete, utter plate rupture, meaning the plates no longer were attached to each other. They're no longer attached to each other. They're like this, floating free. Since that 8.8, 9.4 earthquake, we've had other major earthquakes. Anything over a 7.0 earthquake is called a major quake. We have had multiple major earthquakes. Further plate ruptures have happened. further plate ruptures have happened. Now, with that said, when we have an earthquake of this magnitude, whenever we've had an earthquake of this magnitude, you can expect to have aftershocks for weeks, months, and even years. And that's what we're seeing here. Weeks, months, and even years here. Okay? Now, over here off the southern tip of Kamchatka Peninsula, this is another large 5.2 earthquake. Large 5.2 earthquake. This earthquake is 29 miles deep. A shallow earthquake. Further south here, this is a 4.5 moderate earthquake. 4.5 moderate earthquake over here near the Kuril Islands, Kuril Islands. This is on the north side of the Kuril Islands. This is a 4.5 moderate quake. This is another 4.5 here, just south there. This is also 22 miles deep. Still a very shallow earthquake. Down here in the Kuril Islands itself, this is a 5.6 very large earthquake. 5.0, 5.9 earthquakes are large earthquakes. 5.5 to 5.9 are considered to be very large earthquakes, and that's what this is. This is a very large earthquake. Now, these islands also belong to Russia. All the islands here in the Kuril Islands belong to Russia. Then we pull ourselves down to Hokkaido, Japan. This is where Japan starts ownership of the islands here, is in Hokkaido, Japan. Okay? Now, I want to tell you this. USGS is not showing us all the earthquakes. That's why I call a spade a spade. The United States Geological Survey is not showing us all of the earthquakes. And because of the USGS and the government being in a shutdown condition, the staff of the USGS has been off work, basically laid off work. So we're not going to see definitively exactly what's happening here around the world right now, at least until the staff goes back to work. And right now it's highly unlikely they're going to be going back to work anytime soon. That is another story in and of itself. Now, let me take down our webcam once more here. This is going to allow us to show you what's going on here in Japan. Right here, off the shore of Honshu, Japan here. This is another 4.7 moderate earthquake here. 4.7 moderate earthquake, 23 miles deep. Now, moderate earthquake. Moderate earthquakes can do damage if it hits land. Earthquakes off the east coast of Kamchatka Peninsula have been in the water. I don't think anybody on land could have felt those earthquakes. We have no felt reports from that 5.6 south of Kamchatka Peninsula. A 5.6 earthquake there. There were two other 4.5, 4.7s. Okay? Those were offshore. Nobody felt those. The ocean waters have absorbed the shockwaves of these quakes. Down here, offshore of Japan here, this is a moderate 4.7. This, I believe, was 57 miles east of Honshu, Japan. For all intents and purposes, the ocean water has absorbed the shockwaves of this quake as well. Now, 2 years ago, USGS started calling 4.0s, 4.9s light earthquakes. They started calling them light earthquakes. I'm going to repeat myself right now. A 4.0 to 4.9 are not light earthquakes. There's nothing light about a 4.0, 4.9 earthquake. 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes cannot pictures off of walls. They can shake your dishes and plates, your glasses in your cupboards, and if you don't have your cupboards secure, those plates and glasses and such could fall out of your cupboards. That's why we ask everybody, even though you may or may not have children, put those child guards on your cupboards. Put those child guards on your cupboards so in case an earthquake happens, that your dishes and plates are not going to come flying out of the cupboard. That's going to protect you and or your children. Okay? 4.0s to 4.9s are not light earthquakes, as USGS has come to call them. And some of the other agencies around this earth are still calling them light earthquakes, going along with what USGS said. USGS says that light earthquakes don't do much damage at all. They're wrong. They do damage. Again, they knock pictures off of walls. They can take plates, glasses, and bowls and stuff out of cupboards by rattling them around enough and they'll fall out. They can also knock books and knickknacks off of shelves, off of tables. Moderate earthquakes can cause moderate damage. Back in 2014, I've told this story many times, I'm telling you it again. Back in 2014, there was what they said was a 4.5 earthquake in Los Angeles. And this is good for instance. What happened then? What happened then? Basically this. I was watching the earthquake report from Channel 5 KTLA out of Los Angeles. One of the newscasters was a 5 o'clock newscast with a man named Carlos Amesca. Carlos Amesca and I were friends at the time. He used to work in San Diego where I used to live. But Carlos Amesca and his newscast partner were on the news desk when that earthquake hit. They felt the shaking happen. The lights above the studio were rocking back and forth. Carlos said on the air, "Let's duck underneath our table, underneath the news desk." He and his female partner ducked under the news desk. After the earthquake stopped shaking, they came back out and they said they'd had a 4.5 earthquake. Let me tell you this. A couple hours later, I was called on the phone by the city of county of LA. They wanted me to travel to Los Angeles to help them with that earthquake. I did that. They sent me a plane ticket to Salt Lake City Airport so I could fly to and from Los Angeles. I did that. Now, really quickly, Charlene Savant gave us a $10 super chat. I greatly appreciate that. I'm going to just pause here real quickly and tell you that you can give us super chats here. I greatly appreciate that. Super chats help keep our program on the air. Any donations you can give us helps us tremendously to keep our program on the air. Helps us a great deal. So please give us super chats. Across the bottom of your screen, after I lift my webcam off the bottom, you're going to see our PayPal and also our address across the bottom of your screen, scrolling across the bottom of your screen. You can send donations to our PayPal. There's 2 PayPal addresses. You can also address a card and or a letter to us to our mailing address. I'll give that to you in just a minute. To go forward with this story, I flew from Salt Lake City that day to Los Angeles. They put me up in a hotel for an entire week. I'd done earthquake drills all over California before that time. Literally all over California, from Northern California down to San Diego. In 2010, I was in San Diego for an earthquake drill then. This is 2014. After having done earthquake drills, they knew that I was competent to help them recover their town, their city. They had broken glass all around Los Angeles County, broken windows, broken glass doors, literally all over Los Angeles County. Literally everywhere. That earthquake also ruptured gas lines. It also ruptured water lines all over the county. Since when does a moderate earthquake rupture gas lines and water lines and break glass all over the county? It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen unless that glass might be very old, like an antique glass. Then it might happen. But that's not the case in Los Angeles for the most part. It broke windows all over LA, ruptured gas and water lines as well. Los Angeles City County was without gas and water for some time. Why'd they ask me there? They had to recover. They had gas, people from Southern California Edison and other companies out there repairing gas lines. Their water department was out there repairing the water. They had glass breakage teams from all over Los Angeles repairing glass windows in homes and businesses. They wanted ideas on how they could recover the community. I was there for a very good reason. They wanted my help. When I was there, I was also advising them what they could do to make sure people didn't get hurt by another large earthquake. I was in Northridge when I was a cop, assisting Northridge and Los Angeles police and other agencies in the Northridge area at that major earthquake hit there. They said it was a 6.9. It was actually a lot larger, 7.2, 7.3. But this was a large earthquake. It was not a 4.5. That earthquake that happened in 2014, I believe it was in September 2014, was probably at least a 4.3, excuse me, a 5.3, 5.4 large earthquake. That would result in all the damage that we saw there in Los Angeles. 4.0s to 4.9s will not do that kind of damage. As you get up towards a 4.8, 4.9, you're going to see more and more damage. But once it reaches a 5.0 level, there's going to be a lot of damage. Large amount of damage. That's why they used to call it large earthquakes. Now they're trying to make it seem like, oh, this is nothing. Oh, this is nothing. Calling a 4.0, 4.9 a light earthquake. Calling a 5.0, 5.9 moderate earthquakes. There is no such thing as a moderate 5.0, 5.9. They are large, damaging earthquakes. I want to make this point once again. They are large, damaging earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes can cause moderate damage, except if the earthquake happens out in the ocean away from the landmass. Then if it's not that close to the land, then the moderate earthquake seismic energy will be absorbed by the surrounding ocean water. That happens quite a bit. In this case, it happened here off of Japan. Let's proceed further here. I have an entire world to talk to you about here. Okay? Here in Japan, there's still other earthquakes here, but USGS has chosen not to share those with us. There are earthquakes here in the Philippines. USGS is only telling us about one. Down here off the coast of Santiago, Philippines, in the same location where we just got through having a 7.8 earthquake. They called it a 7.4. It was a 7.8 earthquake here. It caused major damage. You see where Davao City here is? This is far enough inland in the Philippines. But that earthquake that happened off the coast of the Philippines in this exact same location, they had major damage here in Davao City. That damage over here near the coastline. They have cities and towns here, guys. People live here. They suffered major damage here. All along the southeastern part of Mindanao, Philippines, Mindanao, Philippines is an island here. This is the largest, and it's in the southernmost largest island in the Philippines. Again, the quake energy was felt all the way over here in Davao, Philippines. A lot of damage. A lot of damage. The Philippines is still recovering from that earthquake, and today they had another 4.5 earthquake here. It's not the only earthquake here. It's only the only earthquake the USGS wants to show us. This was 30 miles east-southeast of Santiago, Philippines. This is also 34 miles deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Okay? Now I'm going to bring my device up here. I want to show you exactly what's going on here. They want to try to tell us that there's nothing happening here. They want to try to tell us that nothing's happening here. Look at this. One earthquake, large earthquakes. Look at this. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 earthquakes here, not just one. 16 earthquakes right here. And even when there is not a government shutdown in progress, they still don't report earthquakes like they used to. They haven't done that in a long time. 16 earthquakes right there. But guess what? There's more. There's a lot more. You see that 10 spot, 10 plus earthquakes there? To the north, off the northeast coast of Mindanao, Philippines, we have a 3.3, a 3.0, and another 3.4 right there. Those are small earthquakes. Then we get down here. 10 plus earthquakes, guys, guess what? 24 earthquakes right there. 24 earthquakes right there, and then 5 more for the south. For the south, 3.4. 3.4. Southwest, 3.3. Southeast of there, or southwest of there, a 2.7, and here's another 2.8. Aftershocks. Aftershocks of that major earthquake off of Mindanao, Philippines on Friday. Why? Because of plasma radiation from the sun. And the fact of the matter is this. It's just not the plasma radiation that's causing this. Again, let me take down our webcam here. Here in this region, stretching all the way over to Taiwan, or over to Tonga and Samoa here. Tonga and Samoa right up in here. They're not showing any earthquakes there. They're not showing any earthquakes there. And the European agency is not showing any either. But they're only showing one earthquake here north of New Zealand. This is a 4.8 earthquake here east of the North Island of New Zealand. This is south of the Kermadec Islands. South of the Kermadec Islands. This is a 4.8 earthquake. 6.2 miles deep, very shallow earthquake. Right next to it, another 4.6, also 6.2 kilometers deep. But again, it's not the only earthquakes that are there. Look at this. 24 earthquakes in New Zealand. 24 earthquakes in New Zealand. Incredible. All these earthquakes are minor and small quakes in New Zealand. Every one of these earthquakes are minor and small earthquakes in New Zealand. Okay? Incredible. But folks, it's not the only thing going on here. Friday night. This is Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. This is a 2.963.0 earthquake near Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. This is a city, a pretty good sized city. Guess what? Friday night, another Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints burned down here near Hawke's Bay. Another church of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints burned down here in Hawke's Bay. As of yesterday, they do not have the results of the investigation on why that fire started. But another church burned down here in Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, Friday night. Unreal. George Rashad is here. George, thank you for being here. Now, George is in the chat, guys. I want to put up the information, or not put up, but talk to you about what happened to George. This is why I always tell everybody here that's watching our program, listening to our program, and also participating in our chat. He said he was unsubscribed by YouTube. He lives in California, Comistan, California. Make sure, guys, you're subscribed to this program. Make sure you're still subscribed and make sure they're notifying you. If you're not subscribed, please resubscribe. Hit that subscribe button. When you do that, also hit that little bell icon. Click on that little bell icon. You'll find out there's a drop-down menu of 3 items come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people like George Rashad, who I've known for many years now. George, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Okay, apparently YouTube is not, it's here on my end, on my monitor just fine. He said, you guys can hardly see my image here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size of this image some so you can see what's going on here. George, I hope that's enough for you. I hope that clears up any eye strain or makes it less blurry here for you. Renee Sevi says she's subscribed, but she still doesn't get notifications. That's why it's so important every few weeks to unsubscribe and resubscribe to this channel. When you do that, also click on that little notification bell. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you're not, click on the subscribe button. Once you're subscribed, click on that notification bell. You'll at least be notified again when we come on the air. But again, USGS doesn't pay attention that much. We come on the air sometime between 4 and 5 o'clock Eastern time during the week. Sometimes it's a little bit later because we have a lot of news that we have to gather for you to bring you to come on the air. Okay, sometimes we come on the air a little bit later, but we come on the air sometime after 4 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Okay, let's continue this discussion. I appreciate George Rashad. Thank you so much for telling us that. DPOTACS or CZCH, I don't know. I can't pronounce your handle here, but you said you don't get notifications. Click on that notification bell. There's a little bell icon. Click on that. When you do that, click on the word ALL. That will at least get you notified for a short while. If you end up still not getting notifications, keep checking on your subscription and also click on that notification bell again. Okay, and the little bell and that drop down menu of 3 items. Click on the word AL all. Again, that should get you notified anytime we come on the air. Okay? But again, we have a bunch of earthquakes here in New Zealand. And USGS is not talking about it. They never do. They never really notify anybody about these earthquakes in New Zealand. Northern New Zealand, or northern, I'm sorry, not New Zealand, northern Australia here. Earthquake there. Earthquake there. Let me show you what happened here. Let me show you what happened. Guess what? Lake Argyll, Western Australia. This is a 3.58 small earthquake. 3.5 small earthquake here in Northern Australia. Rarely do we ever see earthquakes here on the USGS map. They rarely ever do that. They didn't do it now. This is nearly a 4.0 moderate quake, and it may very well have been. This may very well have been a 4.0 moderate quake. Over by Darwin, just south of Darwin, Australia. Lake Argyll, Australia here. Okay. Now, like I said, there were a lot of earthquakes in Indonesia. Look at this. Tons of quakes here in Indonesia. Tons of them. What is USGS showing us? 4. 4 earthquakes. Go figure. This one here. This is a 5.0 earthquake here. That's a 5.0 earthquake over here in central Java. 5.0 earthquake 20 miles southeast of Kalingat, Indonesia. 6.2 miles deep. This earthquake here is a 4.2. Northeast of Luan, Bajo, Indonesia. Further to the northwest. This is a 4.6. 9 miles northwest of Katubu, Indonesia. Over here to the southwest. This is a 4.3. Timor-Leste, Indonesia, over in the Banda Sea here. Over in the Banda Sea here. There are plenty of earthquakes, and those are not the only earthquakes here. I could spend a half hour or more talking about 42 earthquakes here in Indonesia. And look what's happening over here in Myanmar, Burma area. Look at these earthquakes here. Why are these guys having earthquakes? Why is this country having earthquakes? Because of all the earthquakes happening in Indonesia. All those earthquakes happening in Indonesia have a common theme. It's those earthquake faults coming out of Indonesia. That's why we have all the earthquakes here. Okay? But what is USGS showing? Absolutely nothing. Not a thing. They're showing one earthquake here. This is Burma, or what we now call Myanmar. This is a 4.5 aftershock. Several months ago, we had a good-sized earthquake. It was a 7.2 earthquake, a major earthquake here. Since then, we keep having aftershocks. This is just one more aftershock. This is a 4.5. There's 8 more earthquakes there. 8 more earthquakes there. All these earthquakes are aftershocks. For example, I'm just going to point out 1 or 2 here. This is a 2.3. Besides that 4.5, this is a 2.3. Okay? Further north, this is a 1.3 tremor. 2.3 minor earthquake and a 1.3 tremor here. Going north. That's a 2.5 minor quake. Further to the northeast, This is another 3.3 small quake. Burma. All these earthquakes are aftershocks to that major earthquake that happened here several months ago. But USGS is not going to show it to us. One other one, Vietnam. This is the 3.5 over here in Vietnam. That's what's happening, guys. That's what's happening. Then we move over here to Afghanistan. Remember, we had a very strong 6.1 earthquake here just about a month ago. Guess what? USGS is not showing any earthquakes here. Guess what? Look at all the aftershocks here, ranging in size from 1.5 to 4.2. 1.5 tremor to 4.2 moderate quake. These are aftershocks of the 6.1 earthquake here that devastated this area. Why did it devastate? Because folks here in Afghanistan, they build their homes out of mud. They don't have brick, they have mud. They have dirt. They have some wood, they have some cardboard. This was a very strong 6.1 earthquake. Some people also lived in caves here. Some people in this area live in caves. They had cave collapses as well. Also, because this was in mountainous territory, the roads getting in and out of Jalalabad, Afghanistan, were on the sides of cliffs, literally. Some of the roads were blocked by landslides caused by the earthquake. We have a lot of earthquakes here, still ongoing. Let's go down here. I want to talk about this. South of Crete, Greece here. This is a 4.0 earthquake, south of Crete, Greece. Moderate earthquake. It's also the only earthquake that they show here in the Greece area. The only earthquake. I'm going to tell you this, there's a lot more than that. Look at all the earthquakes here. Here in the Aegean Sea, going over to mainland Greece here, USGS not showing one. Not one earthquake. A lot of earthquakes. This is over in the southeast Dokkanese Islands here, just southwest of Turkey. This is a 2.8 earthquake. I'm not going to show you all the earthquakes. That's a 2.8 in the Dokkanese Islands. All of these islands here belong to Greece. They're called the Dokkanese Islands here. Okay? Over here, further over on Crete, Greece, this is a 2.6 earthquake. North of Crete, just south of mainland Greece, this is a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake. Now I want to go over to Santorini, Greece. Let me zoom in here. I want to show you Santorini, Greece here. This backward sea island is called Santorini. This is where we had a lot of earthquakes. We had our first earthquakes here earlier this year. We had 4.5, 4.8, 4.2, 4.3 earthquakes. We have over 3,000 people live on this island of Santorini. Over here, in the harbor here, this is the summit of the volcano here. This is the summit of the volcano. Over here, right along the shoreline of the harbor here, we have an earthquake. And USGS is not even showing it to us. This is a 1.1 earthquake. 1.1 tremor here. Santorini. We're still having earthquakes here. USGS is not showing them. They're not showing them. Why are we having earthquakes here? Why do you think we're having earthquakes here, guys? We have magma down beneath the ocean here. We have magma down beneath this ocean. The magma is working its way to erupt. Right now, the magma is breaking rocks, fracturing rocks beneath the surface here. Fracturing rocks down beneath the bed of the ocean here. At some point in time, that magma will erupt. We don't know whether it's going to erupt at an island, and all these islands were made by volcanism. All these islands here are a result of volcanism in this area. We have magma trying to erupt here. That's why we're getting these earthquakes. South of Santorini, we have a 2.5 and another 3.5. A 2.5 and a 3.5 south of Santorini. Minor and small earthquakes south of Santorini. North of Santorini, near Thiel, Greece. This is a 2.5 minor earthquake here. Earthquakes caused by volcanism down beneath the surface here. That's what's happening here. Now you can still see 100 earthquakes here in northwestern Turkey here. Over 100 earthquakes in this area. There's a reason. There's a reason. See this mountainous region here in northern Turkey? It's again the edge of the plate. Look at that earthquake fault. That earthquake fault. This is the edge of the plate, and that's why we have so many earthquakes here in northwestern Turkey. Okay? But again, USGS doesn't want to show it to us. Why not? Why not? They never show it to us. They never, ever show it to us. Then over here, see Adana, Turkey there? This is the Turkey-Syria border region. February 3rd, 2023, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake in this area. February 3rd, 2023, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here. There are earthquakes here. Most of the time, we have anywhere between 20 to 50 earthquakes here in this region. Today, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 earthquakes here. 10 earthquakes. These are 1.5, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here. Aftershocks. Aftershocks of a major earthquake that happened here. 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here in the Syria-Turkey border region. It caused a huge ground open up. Huge fissure that opened up here in Turkey. 14 miles long. 8 stories deep. 8 stories deep. They could put an 8-story deep or 8-story tall skyscraper here in the bottom of that fissure. I showed pictures of that fissure after this earthquake hit. A big deal. But so far I showed you a lot of earthquakes USGS is not showing us. I'm not going to show you all the earthquakes. There's no way I could spend the whole program talking about earthquakes all over Europe, such as this. They're not showing any of those at all. Over in Germany and France. Germany, France, look at that. Northern Italy. England. Look at England. Let's go over here to England. Near Brittany, France, here we have a 2.1. Guess what? Ireland. Ireland had a 0.1 microquake. 0.1 microquake. We usually don't see any kind of earthquakes here. You don't see any earthquakes here, but we saw this. Let's zoom in here in England. England here. Ireland is 0.1 tremor there. It's not the only one here, guys. Actually, it is. There was another earthquake that the EMSC, the European Agency, was showing us up here near Wales. Up here near Wales, and they took it down just now. So we had two earthquakes here in the British Isles here. Okay. Spain and Portugal. This is a 1.8 tremor in Spain and Portugal here. Not showing us that either. Iceland. Let's move this down and show you Iceland here. Good old Iceland here. Look at this. Iceland. Bertabunga volcano here. Here's a 2.0 earthquake on the northwestern side of Bertabunga volcano here. That ice sheet covers the volcano. Bertabunga volcano there. Over here off the northwestern coast of Iceland, this is a 2.0 earthquake here. Okay. Going over into south central Iceland, or south central Iceland. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. Up to the north, we have a 2.4. 2.4 earthquake. South of Iceland, on the Reykjanes Fault, the Mid-Atlantic Fault. This is a 2.0 off the southern side of Reykjanes Peninsula on the Mid-Atlantic Fault here. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding here. The Mid-Atlantic Fault here is expanding. We told you about this before. The fault is expanding like this. It's pushing the island of Iceland apart. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is tearing the island of Iceland apart. At some point in time, it'll be two islands. Now, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because it would cause a major earthquake here. And I think it's going to be several major earthquakes here to cut Iceland in half. But it's going to happen. The Mid-Atlantic Fault all the way down to the South Atlantic is expanding like this. It is pushing. It's pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. It's also pushing Greenland, Canada, and the United States in a southwesterly direction. That's why we get earthquakes here on the eastern coastline. They're not even showing those. Now, later this week, I'll show you earthquakes here along the East Coast. They almost never, ever show earthquakes here on the East Coast. On the Pneumatic Fault, we're going to talk about earthquakes here on the Pneumatic Fault this week. Here they're showing two earthquakes today. Lucky us. Ridgely, Tennessee. This is a 2.4 minor earthquake here. Ridgely, Tennessee is not a stranger to earthquakes. They happen all the time. We've shown you the seismogram, which is the readout from the seismograph. It shows earthquakes there all the time. Further south over here in Arkansas. This is Pleasant Plains, Arkansas. Pleasant Plains, Arkansas. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. It's right there. This is a 2.0 earthquake right here. Now, I told you about this earthquake in Ridgely, Tennessee. I did not see this earthquake just north of there. This is Howardsville, Missouri. This is a 1.4 tremor. Now, like we have these two minor earthquakes and this one tremor here, these are not the only earthquakes that happen. When we started talking about earthquakes here along the Pneumatic Fault, we had minor earthquakes 2.0, 2.9. We didn't start talking about the Pneumatic Fault before we had the minor earthquakes. Why? Because nothing was really happening here along the Pneumatic Fault. Nothing. All we were having here is tremors. Now, as of the last 2 years, we've been having just not minor earthquakes, but small 3.0, 3.9. We've even had some that I believe were 4.5 earthquakes on the Pneumatic Fault. That's why we started covering earthquakes here on the Pneumatic Fault. The center of the fault line here in Missouri is the most likely place for the 8.0, 9.0 earthquake to happen. The scientists now say the 1810, 1811 earthquake was actually an 8.0, not a 7.0 as they originally thought. They now expect the Pneumatic Fault to cause an 8.0 to an 8.5 earthquake here. It's supposed to be happening here either in the Missouri area, which is the central part of the Pneumatic Fault, or further south over here along the Arkansas-Tennessee border. That's honestly where they believe it's going to start. But it's also going to rupture the entire fault going south and up north as well, all the way up to Illinois and Ohio. It's going to happen. It's literally when. We don't know when, but I guarantee you it's going to happen. Okay? Now let's go over to the Pacific Northwest. While we've been on the air, we've had another good-sized earthquake over here off the Blanco Fracture Zone, off the coast of Oregon. Okay? This is another 3.1 earthquake. This is the third 3.0, 3.1 earthquake that we've had here in the past week and a half. This is the third 3.0 small earthquake that we've had here in the past week and a half on the Blanco Fracture Zone, off the coast of Bend, Oregon. This is the 3.1 small quake. This is in the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. This is in the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. Why am I talking about it? Let's back out here a little ways. I want to go over here and talk about what's happening here in Washington, Oregon, and I'll even go into Northern California in a few minutes. Right up here, right off the coast of Washington and Vancouver Island. This is the central part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. Okay? The Cascadia Subduction Zone region reaches all the way up here to Haida Gwaii. This island here is called Haida Gwaii, or what they used to call Queen Charlotte Island. This earthquake fault just west of Queen Charlotte, or Haida Gwaii, it's now called the Haida Gwaii Fault. Scientists are now saying that the Haida Gwaii Fault is capable of a Cascadia event. The Haida Gwaii Fault here is capable of a Cascadia event by itself, an 8.0, 9.0 earthquake, because it's so close to shore. The people here that live here on Haida Gwaii are not going to get much notice when they have a tsunami here. A tsunami. Because the Haida Gwaii Fault is much like the Cascadia, they fully expect to have a major tsunami here after the earthquake hits here. People here on Haida Gwaii are not going to get much notice, and there's not much place to flee. There's not much place to go further ashore to get away from the flood, to get away from the onslaught of water. There are only a few mountain ranges here that they can travel to. They expect the tsunami to be 50 feet high, at least 50 feet high. meaning it will submerge the towns that are here. Okay? Now, since the scientists are now saying they may have the Haida Gwaii fault move up here to be a cascade earthquake. Okay? What I'm telling you is this. Scientists expect the Haida Gwaii earthquake to happen very soon. They don't know when, but they're saying very soon. Scientists have been saying this earthquake off the coast of Washington and Vancouver Island could happen in 15 to 20 years. Because all the earthquakes that they're not showing us, all the information I've shown you, all the data is going to show you that the cascading earthquake is going to happen very soon, possibly within the next 5 years. I honestly don't know when it's going to happen, but I believe it's going to happen within the next 5 years. We shall see. The Cascadia earthquake is going to be a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. A 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. That's huge. That's huge. Especially since the USGS, the central agency, and even, I'm going to talk about even, the Canadian agency are not showing much of anything here. Yes, this is a USGS map. But even the Canadian agency is not showing you all the earthquakes because they don't want anybody to realize what is actually going on. Why? Because people flee the area. People would flee the area not wanting to be here to have that earthquake hit. You can't much blame them because that Cascadia earthquake being a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake is going to be like more than anything we've ever seen here on this earth. Yeah. Nobody alive has seen a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake except Japan. And they are used to earthquakes, and they were ready for the 9.0 earthquake that happened off the coast of Fuji, Japan. Okay? We're not that ready, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to hit. It's going to hit. 9.0, 10.0 energy here. It's going to happen here on the Cascadia subduction zone region, which is the earthquake fault that parallels the Northern California, the Oregon coast, the Washington coast, and Vancouver, British Columbia coast, all the way up here to Haida Gwaii. There's another fault here as well. It's called Juan de Fuca Fault. It's a zigzag coastline here, a zigzag earthquake fault, zigzag earthquake fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault, Juandefuca fault. We expect the Cascadia earthquake to happen either on or near either one of these faults. It's going to happen. Major earthquake. It's going to shake the entire coastline. It's going to shake the entire west coast of Canada and the United States. Major earthquake. Within 20 to 30 minutes after the first shaking stops, we're going to see a tsunami here. We're going to see a major tsunami anywhere from 50 to 150 foot of water. Multiple waves. Multiple tsunami waves. We've learned that one tsunami wave is not the only wave that we're going to have happen. There will be multiple tsunami waves as large as 50 to 150 foot high that will completely destroy anything the earthquake shaking did not destroy. People are going to become unalived. USGS is estimating 1,800 casualties, 1,800 deaths. They're talking at least 1,800 to 2,000 people that are going to be injured by this quake. I think the numbers are going to be twice that. I think the numbers are going to be twice that. The shaking of this earthquake is going to be felt all the way up here into Alaska. It's going to be felt all the way up here into Alaska. See this earthquake here in south central Alaska here? This is Ellsworth, Alaska. This is a 4.1 earthquake here. 4.1 earthquake. This is south of Mount Redoubt. South of Mount Redoubt, guys. A 4.1 moderate earthquake here in Alaska today. All the rest of these earthquakes are either minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.3, or 1 point plus tremors. 1.0 to 1.9 tremors here in Alaska. 4.1 earthquake here in Ellsworth, Alaska, south of Mount Redoubt. Another volcano. Okay. The shaking's also going to be felt all the way down the coast from Canada here all the way down to Mexico. The shaking's going to be felt all the way down here to Mexico. Why? Because, guys, there is another fault zone. The seismic energy is going to be following the Cascadia subduction zone or the Juan de Fuca fault. Juan de Fuca fault intersects with the Blanco fracture zone here. That will transfer the shaking to the Gorda Ridge here. The Gorda Ridge that runs from northeastern ocean down here to the northwestern ocean here, down to the Gorda Escarpment. Then the shaking's going to be transferred over here to the San Andreas. Either way, whether it's on the Cascadia or down here on the Juan de Fuca, the shaking energy is going to be transferred all the way down here to the San Andreas. The triple junction here. The triple junction. The Gorda Escarpment, the San Andreas connects with the Cascadia subduction zone. It's going to trigger the San Andreas fault. Then that energy that you see here is going to be transferred all the way down to Mexico. Here at the triple junction, this is a 2.8 minor earthquake. This is a 1.7 tremor here near Petrolia, California. This is a 2.3 earthquake here at Petrolia, California. Okay? You see the San Andreas fault here? Runs down the coast of California, doesn't it? All the way down here to the western side of the San Francisco Bay here. This earthquake is going to ignite the other fault zones here in San Francisco. The whole area here in San Francisco is going to be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed. There's going to be casualties and injuries here. The San Andreas then goes inland here. Goes inland and continues south past Monterey Bay here. South of Monterey Bay, we have an earthquake here. This is the Pinnacles. It's also an oil and gas fault zone here too, right in this area of the Pinnacles. Oil and gas pumping operations here. This earthquake on the San Andreas here in the Pinnacles area is a 1.7 tremor. Let's pause here for just a minute. Week and a half ago here in northern San Francisco Bay Area, Berkeley, California. We had a 4.5 earthquake here in Berkeley on the Hayward Fault. East of the Hayward Fault, there's another fault called the Calaveras. There's a small distance here between the Hayward and the Calaveras Fault here. But as we go south, past Monterey Bay, all three dangerous fault zones come very close to each other right here, near Aromas, California. This is probably one of the most dangerous fault areas anywhere. 3 major destructive fault zones come here and nearly meet. The cascading energy is going to continue flowing down here on the San Andreas Fault. It's going to ignite or pop up on the Hayward and the Calaveras and all their faults over here. All other faults going south here. Right here. Fairfield, California. On the San Andreas. This is earthquake capital of the world, Fairfield, California. They're not showing any earthquakes here, but there are earthquakes here. There are earthquakes here. More earthquakes hit in Fairfield, California than anywhere else in the world. Go south. They're not showing any earthquakes at all going here to the Garlic Fault. Not showing any earthquakes on the San Andreas at all here. There are earthquakes. They're just not showing them. Further south here off the coast of Santa Barbara. This is a 1.5 tremor here off the coast of Santa Barbara, here in the Pacific Ocean. As you can see, the San Andreas Fault continues south, over on the eastern side of the Los Angeles area. They're still not showing all the earthquakes here. They never do. This earthquake here north of Los Angeles, Lenox, California. This is a 1.8 tremor here. For the north here, Beverly Hills, California. Remember this story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer that kept his family fed in Arkansas? He moved here to Beverly Hills, California. Guys, this is not the Beverly Hills we've come to know now. Okay? Yes, we have minor earthquakes here. We have a new red earthquake here. This is, they say this is southeast of Los Angeles. This is just northeast of Los Angeles. This is a 1.3 tremor here. Go over here to the northeast. Glendora, California. This is a 1.3 tremor here. They're not showing all the earthquakes here in the LA area. We know for a fact there's a lot of earthquakes here. They're just not showing us the earthquakes at all. Not at all. Now we were over here showing you this earthquake here. Turns out there's a bunch of earthquakes here. This is a cache of earthquakes. This is a 1.8 here near Lenox. This is a 1.6. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 minor earthquake. This is a 2.0. This is a 2.3 near Gardena, California. A cache of earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes here. Okay? Going almost directly north here. This is Florence, Graham, California. 1.2 tremor here. But again, they're not showing us all the earthquakes at all either. They can't possibly, because they don't want us to know the truth. There are over 400 earthquakes here in Los Angeles alone every day. Over 400 earthquakes here in Los Angeles alone every day without fail. Going further east, just southwest of the San Andreas, we have more earthquakes. This is Glendora, California. 1.3 tremor. This is a 0.6 also in Glendora. Okay. There are other faults here besides the San Andreas. When the San Andreas gives up the ghost here and has a 7.0 earthquake, it's going to trigger all the other faults here in the Los Angeles area. Los Angeles will be destroyed. Los Angeles will be destroyed. Okay? Further south here on the San Jacinto, Redlands, California, 1.2 tremor. Right next to here, Grand Terrace, California, this is a 1.0 tremor here. Further south here, Beaumont, 0.8. Up here to the east, on the San Andreas Fault, a 0.6 in Cabazon. Further south, northeast San Diego County, Bella Vista, California, 1.8 tremor here. Earthquakes here are in northeast San Diego County. This is a 1.7 in the Anza Gap area. This is 0.5. This earthquake is a 1.0 tremor. Over here, this is in the Anza Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. This is a 1.6. This is a 0.5 microquake. Further over here to the east, 1.3, Anza Gap. Actually, Anza Borrego Desert State Park. This is a 0.5 microquake in the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Further south, 1.1 tremor, Borrego Springs. Again, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. A lot of earthquakes here. Go further south. Borrego Springs is 0.6 again in the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Now, out here, also Borrego Springs, this is 1.0 tremor. Fascinating. Out here to the southwest, also Borrego Springs, 1.0 tremor. We go further to the west here. Lake Henshaw, northeast of Escondido, California. This is 1.7 tremor here. This is also northwest of Lake Henshaw, just northeast of Escondido, California. 0.6 microquake. I used to fish here in Lake Henshaw. Now we're having tremors here. Quite a few tremors here. Okay? Over here in the Imperial County, this earthquake just happened. This is a 1.3 near Salton City, southwest of Salton City, a 1.3 tremor. This is Salton City right here, on the northwestern shores of the Salton Sea, Salton City. Over here on the northeastern shores of the Salton Sea, we have North Shore Salton Sea. Small community of maybe 1,000 people here. Then we come down here to Bombay Beach on the eastern side of the Salton Sea here. This is where the San Andreas Fault follows the Salton Sea down here to Bombay Beach. Then it goes underneath the Salton Sea here at Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach sees 3.0 to 4.0, 4.5 earthquakes all day long, every day. All day long, every day, but USGS never shows us these earthquakes on the fault. They don't show them on the map. But we have seismic evidence. We have seismograms recorded by the seismographs. Seismograms show the energy here, expended by the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Then down here to the south, just south of the Salton Sea, we have Calipatria, California right here. Earthquake here. USGS is saying we have a 1.3 tremor here. What they're not saying is there are 75 to 150 earthquakes here in the Calipatria area every day. 75 to 150 earthquakes here every day in the Calipatria area. I'm going to show you these earthquakes tomorrow on the seismogram. Southern California. Southern California here. Further down here to the west, this is another 1.3 tremor here. This is just northeast of Westmoreland. Northeast of Westmoreland. Westmoreland is down here, right in this area here. It's called Westmoreland. Guess what? We have some earthquakes out here in the Salton Sea. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. This is northwest of Westmoreland in the Salton Sea. This is a 1.6 tremor. This is also 1.6 tremor. But what USGS doesn't show us is that the Salton Butte volcano is down here beneath the water here. The Salton Butte volcano is right here, just beneath the water of the Salton Sea. An active volcano. An active volcano. Now you can kind of see why we have earthquakes in this area. We have an active volcano. But we're not done here. We're not done here. We have Juanito in our midst here in the chat. He was here earlier. This is El Centro, California, where our buddy Juanito lives. We have anywhere from 20 to 25 earthquakes every day here in El Centro. 3.0 and large earthquakes here in El Centro today. Juanito and his family have said that they feel every one of these earthquakes here. They feel every one of these earthquakes here every day. 20 to 30 earthquakes here a day, on the average of 25 here a day, every day. Now, north of El Centro, we have another town called Imperial. El Centro and Imperial and Calipatria all have seismographs to record these quakes. Here in the town of Imperial, we have tremors, we have minor earthquakes, and we also have 3.0 earthquakes here today. Okay? They happen every day without fail. Not just that. Let's go down here to Holtville. Holtville, California, guys. Guess what? Holtville has earthquakes. Holtville has earthquakes. Why? Because, folks, guess what? The San Andreas Fault here. The San Andreas Fault runs right next to Holtville. That's why here in Holtville we have earthquakes. Holtville has another seismograph over here located in the Salton Sea Desert Research Station located in Holtville. We have tremors, we have minor earthquakes, and we have 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in Holtville every day. Every day. But again, USGS does not show it to us. Earthquakes happen all the time. Back here in 2011, right in this area right here in 2011, we had a 7.1 earthquake that was recorded, and scientists are now saying it was an 8.0 earthquake. Down here, the border region, the border of the Imperial Valley and Mexico. Okay, you see Mexicali here. On the north side of the border is called Calexico, California. Down here, just south of the border, what they call Guadalupe Victoria, a county here or province of Mexico. This is where the 7.18 earthquake was located. It ruptured here. The earthquake was felt all over California, all the way up to Los Angeles. It was also felt over here in Arizona. Literally all over Arizona, all over California and Southern California. Again, on the San Andreas Fault. On the San Andreas Fault. It's very likely we're going to have another earthquake here. Very, very likely we're going to have another earthquake here on the San Andreas. It's going to happen. It's a matter of time. Now, guys, I've gone way past what I wanted to do here today. Ernie Martinez says he's been in Mexicali, so have I. I've been all the way down to the tip of Baja. There's now a travel advisory into Mexico. For those of you down here in Southern California or Arizona or anywhere around the United States, you are advised not to travel here into Mexico at all. Not at all. Not at all. The gangs here in Mexico are bad. Okay? They have Tren de Aragua. They have MS-13. They have Tijuana gangs and gangs from Mexico City. It's very dangerous to travel down here in the Baja at all, or into Mexico at all, including Mexico City. You take your life in your hands if you do that. There are earthquakes over here in the Gulf of California. They're just not showing those earthquakes. The San Andreas Fault leaves Southern California and comes down here through northern Mexico, comes down here in the Gulf of California. Travels through the Gulf of California all the way down here into southern Mexico, right down here. All the way along the coast, just west of Acapulco here. Up here we have Puerto Vallarta here. San Andreas Fault comes all the way down here, all the way down to the Cocos Plate. All the way south down here to the Cocos Plate. Here in southern Mexico, 70 earthquakes here today. 70 earthquakes in southern Mexico today. They don't show any. They almost never do. 70 earthquakes there. 14 earthquakes here in Central America. They're not showing any here. They're showing one lousy earthquake here in Chile. This is the 5.0 earthquake. This is 29 miles west of Ovalle, Chile. 5.0 large earthquake here. There are actually 35 earthquakes here in South America. Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. They're not showing but one. A crying shame. A crying shame. Does anybody have any questions for me? Does anybody have any questions for me? I now know who DPOTACZECH is. My friend Don Patoka. My friend Don Patoka. Congratulations, Don. You fooled me until just now. I just figured it out. George Rashad a few minutes ago on the chat asked everybody to like this program. If you enjoyed this program so far, like the program. Like the program. Subscribe, and also not just subscribe, but hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we come on the air. Now, do we have any questions? I know I've come a long way here tonight. We have had a lot of earthquakes to talk about. We've had a lot of earthquakes to talk about. I'm actually over time. I'm way, way over time. Now, there's one other earthquake I want to talk about over here in southwestern Texas. Southwestern Texas. Just north of that earthquake here. This is the 3.4 earthquake here. This is a 3.4 earthquake in southeastern New Mexico. Southeastern New Mexico, guys. There are oil and gas rigs all over this area. This is the 3.4 earthquake here. South of there, we have a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. We have a 1.6 tremor here. We have a 1.6 tremor here. And right here, we have a 2.0 earthquake there. This is a huge, huge oil and gas region here. Oil and gas earthquakes here. That's why we're having earthquakes here. No, Don, I'm not going to fire you. Don says, what? I'm not fired yet? No, you're not going to be fired. Guarantee it. Don is one of my dearest friends. I've known Don for at least 18 years now, or 8 years now. Known Don for 8 years. He's awesome. He's awesome. Now, today I've gone over here to Romans. Over here to the 4th chapter of Romans. Therefore it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of all nations. He's talking about Abraham now. Before him who he believed, even God who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. We are all of the lineage of Abraham. We are the children of Abraham, the children of God. We have blessings from our father Abraham. Guys, I would ask each and every one of you, consider yourself where you're from. Very much consider yourself where you're from, why you're here. What do you have to do to have eternal life? What things do we have to do to have eternal life? Follow the commandments. Follow the commandments and believe and know that ye were set apart to be children of God. Each and every one of us are children of God. Here on this earth we live by faith. The veil which separates heaven from the earth is very thin. Very thin. When we depart this earth, we're going to be on the other side in heaven. Heaven is never far away. Here on this earth we live by faith. I know that my Heavenly Father lives. I know that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. I know that. I have had that testimony born to me. All I'm asking here of you is for you to find out who you really are. Find out for yourselves that you are children of God. Then don't forget it. Obey the commandments. Make sure you're gathering your children, your neighbors and friends, and explain to them that the gospel of Jesus Christ is true. Bring them along with you. Teach your friends and neighbors the gospel of Jesus Christ. They deserve to hear it. Then when we all cross over, you and I and our families will be together forever. I testify to that as being true. May God bless you. May God be with you forever, with us forever. Remember what we must do to have the Spirit be with us. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. I really do. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. I love you. Have a good night. Take care. See you then. Good night, everybody. Much love.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true. Bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning, always striving to be better. Bring you the most up-to-date information, no matter the weather. Emergency Management Associates is here for you now and forever, it's true. Keep watching, keep learning, because we truly appreciate all that you do. Thank you. Thank you.